Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, let me just give you a brief. This channel I created so I can document my journey playing with the law of assumption using the method of robotic affirmations. This is day 6, where what have been doing for the last week now is following the steps or the methodology of Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Wayne Dyer, of Helen, all the gurus behind the law of assumption, the law of attraction, creation, and the imagination. I think you guys get the idea, right? So, because these textbooks basically teach us how to manifest in real time the things that we should be doing, the states that we should be shifting to, how to penetrate our subconscious mind. I decided to actually do this and document my journey every single day. Now, this is day 6, and the affirmation that I have been robotically affirming throughout the day is, I get paid to exist, and I always receive large amounts of money out of thin air. I am a money magnet. I am a millionaire. At this point, my brain already plays this affirmation no matter what I'm doing. And this is not the first time I've done this experiment. I've done it in the past. I've been doing this a few years now with different things, different affirmations for self-concept, career changes, things of that nature. But this is the first time that I decide to actually document my journey, because there's just so much information on YouTube that talks about this is the method that you should be using, or this is the other method that you should be using. And the problem with that is people can never get a concrete answer. I was one of those persons that I was trying to figure out how these people were manifesting tons of money out of thin air, or everything that they have, right? They were just manifesting these things, or that's what is stated on their YouTube videos or the blogs that they comment on. So I decided to take it upon myself to actually do this experiment, to see and to play with the law, and to actually see how long it takes for things to start to shift. However, as I mentioned in my previous videos, when you're doing robotic affirmations, you're not doing them because you don't have the stuff, or you're not shifting into the state of having because you already have those things. All you're doing with robotic affirmations, for example, I get paid to exist and I always receive large amounts of money out of thin air, is reminding yourself of the state of the wish fulfilled, right? The robotic affirmations, I do them in the mornings as soon as I wake up. I do them at bedtime as soon as I go to sleep, or even just a few minutes before I go to bed. I go on my walks, I'm doing my affirmations during the day. Whenever they start to auto-suggest themselves, more power. Day 6 now, as I'm doing my work, as I'm doing my whatever it is I'm doing, I can hear my affirmations in my mind. And as I already mentioned to you guys, it comes to a point when you do these so long, so often, that literally your brain auto-suggests this stuff. And it's pretty freaking interesting if you ask me. So so far, I mean, you do become aware, way more aware of your environment. You do become more aware of your thoughts. I think one of the biggest things I can take from my experiment so far is you start to really sort of even dissect every thought that happens in your mind. Anything that becomes negative, you sort of just want to not even entertain it, because it doesn't do anything for you anyways. And if you live in the assumption that you are the creator or the god of your reality, then there's no point of entertaining any negative thought whatsoever, right? It's sort of pointless, because all you can really do is redirect those thoughts into positive ones, right? So yeah, so far I've noticed a huge shift in my energy. It's basically, I mean, if anything, I'm detached from the experiment. I think it becomes easier to do the experiments when you have, I don't want to use this word, but you have no expectations of the experiment. You just kind of just do it to see what happens. And you don't look for these things. You just kind of just auto-suggest. You go about your day and live your life. Because when you're living your life fully in, I want to call it in flow state, it's, I think, where all the movement actually takes place, where you auto-suggest and you remind yourself of the things that you do have. However, you're still going to live your life, right? So far, my affirmations are still playing. It's gotten to the point where essentially is effortless at this point. I'm just doing them as an exercise to continue this journey and document any synchronicities, anything that happens out of thin air. Because remember, when you're robotically affirming for anything, for example, in my situation, I'm robotically affirming for money coming out of thin air, right? I get paid to exist, large amounts of money out of thin air, whatever it may be. This sometimes leads to inspired action. The universe does what it does, and it does it in mysterious ways. It can come from another job opportunity. It can come from the luck of the draw, which is no luck in this, remember that. Well, that's what they call it. It can come from a lottery ticket. It can come from anywhere at this point in time, right? We live in a society where money is basically printed, which it is, but they print so much of it that it creates sort of a delusion. So far, my body is relaxed. I'm in a good state of separation from the affirmation and from myself. Any synchronicities that are taking place that I can remember so far, it's just my energy is different. The auto-suggestion is just happening on its own terms. It's sort of on autopilot. I do feel a lot more relaxed. I do feel a lot more comfortable in my frame. Maybe the first few days you do get a little anxious because what happens is your body looks for this stuff in the actual concrete form, for example. It's scanning for this based on the affirmation that I'm doing. However, you have to just learn to kind of just auto-suggest, robotically affirm, whatever term you want to use is the same stuff. Assume it and just live your life. You can't be stagnant waiting for anything to take place. You just kind of have to just continuously be in the state of neutrality and just do it for fun. Anything good that ever happens to anyone happens, I believe, when you're fully neutralized in a flow state and you're just having fun. And that's one thing I've noticed over the last few years that I've been practicing and playing with the law, that things tend to shift when you're super detached from the outcome of them. That's just the way these things do work. But because I wanted to provide evidence of my journey, not just talk about things that I manifested, because I have no proof of them, right? So I decided that this, Einstein would say, this thought experiment, because I'm just playing with my thoughts, right? That's all we're really doing. I just wanted to present this thought experiment to you guys to see what it takes, the process of this. Although there is really no process, manifesting should be really easy, right? I'm doing this from a scientific standpoint. How long can it potentially take to create thought into matter? That's why I'm doing this. It's from a scientific point of view, right? Ethnographically, in the flesh. How long can it possibly take when as soon as you make the assumption of the things that you already have? So far, angel numbers galore. Every time I wake up, I see angel numbers, but this is all just synchronicities. Anything that happens from now on, ever since I started this thought experiment, it's literally just inspired action at this point. Follow your intuition though. Okay, so when you're doing affirmations, remember that you're seriously in a connection. You're in a connective state with the universe at that point, because you're completely affirming and affirming and affirming. So you start to literally put a lot of energy into those thoughts, which might sync you or cause these synchronicities with the universe. So you're going to see a lot of different things start to take place. Right? So far, just a lot of angel numbers to be continued. And I'm just following my intuition. I'm just going with my intuitive state. Whatever I feel, a thought that comes, I try to act on it. If it's a good thought, if it's a negative thought, I completely I try to disassociate from it as fast as possible, because it doesn't serve you. Okay, guys, so far, day 6, I get paid to exist. And I always receive large amounts of money out of thin air. I am a money magnet. I am a millionaire. Do this experiment with me and see what happens in your life. See what happens when you create on your imagination instead of you doing it on the 3D. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow with an update. Have a great rest of your day. Till next time. And this is Price, by the way. I forget to introduce myself. That's how you know I'm a fucking new YouTuber or a wannabe YouTuber.